Football Manager is an RPG, right? Remember that one? Not only is Football Manager an RPG, but it is a very, very strongly story-based game. The difference, though, between Football Manager and most traditional computer RPGs is that the story in Football Manager is kind of a story that you create for yourself. Or maybe it's a story that you created in your head and then you start sharing with others. There's all sorts of stuff that you can do with this game, even with players who are real players in real life. For example, if you haven't watched my Yenbian series, you should. I have taken some time to make a big story about this guy, Lee Jin-young, who clearly, as you can see from his nice Korean haircut and those luscious black eyes, is sort of a pretty boy and is a lady's choice. And so we can play this up. We can talk about how, the female fans of Yanbian FC are very, very interested in this guy and this kid and want to see him do well and want to see him play, and how devastated they were when he was injured. He was injured. He broke his ribs trying to make a tackle in a match against Jiangsu FC, who, by the way, we just saw last time. Now, the Lee Jin-young story is getting even better because right now he is on leave back in South Korea. Why is he on leave? Because he feels like he's not, it's not showing me here, he feels like he doesn't quite fit in the club, and he's not really, here we go, he's not really fitting in with the way that things are going in Yenji. He's also a little bit upset because he wants to, it said that he wanted to start more games, but apparently he's not upset about that anymore. He just finds it difficult to settle in the area. These are these little storylines that come along that are a lot of fun to play with. I'll show you another one. So another good one that we have that's gone on all season long is this one right here, Hwang Bo-wen. Hwang Bo-wen's 22 years old. He's a pretty good striker. I don't know if I would say that he's necessarily the best striker on the club, but he has a lot of concerns and he has a lot of issues. They say, yeah, he'd be a decent player for most Super League sides. I agree with that. I do think he has the potential to be good in the future. I don't know if he's got that Champions League potential or not, but what I'll tell you about Hwang Bo-wen is that he's not happy. The reason why he's unhappy is because of a signing that took place not long after we hired Hwang Bo-wen. So I signed Hwang Bo-wen off of Yunnan near the beginning of the season for just under 4 million renminbi, which is kind of a bargain for a player of that level. And then, of course, knowing me, I went out and had my scouts do some scouting in North Korea, and we found this guy, Kim Yong-il. Kim Yong-il is 28 years old, North Korean international with 11 caps, scored an international goal as well. And we picked him up for nothing, 150,000 renminbi, which is nothing. And the problem, of course, is Hwang Bo-wen saw this guy come in, knew that this guy had more talent than him, and said, hey, this guy's going to come. He's going to eat my lunch, right? There's how am I going to be able to cope with this? Now, the truth is, and I've known this all along, Hwang Bo-wen is actually a superior player to Kim Yong-il. Now, there are some things, the mentals and stuff like that, this stuff that comes with age. Yeah, maybe Kim Yong-il does better. For like defending, I don't care if these guys defend or not. That's not your job. If you're a striker, I don't want you to go back and defend. I want you to get goals, right? And you look at this. Oh, look, the speed, they're the same. The physicals are the same. The vision, well, maybe Kim Yong-il has a little bit better match vision, but he's also 6 years older, right? Anyway, this is another one of the storylines that comes up. The storyline about there's a problem at the club because of this rivalry that has taken place. And one player who thought that he had, what they would call the iron rice bowl in China, TF1. One player thought that he had it made, and then, no, this other guy came in, and this player thinks, well, I don't know. Do I really fit in this squad anymore or not? Maybe I do, maybe I don't. I'll tell you, I look at this, and I can see 3 more right here who are good players, if you've been watching my save. We've got Ye Jie and Fan Xiang. These two are both born leaders. Born leader personalities, which are rare to find. I had 2 new gen players who were both born leaders on the same team at the same time, which is totally wild. Ye Jie is a good player, and Fan Xiang is a somewhat good player who can improve and hopefully will improve. And then we have the third musketeer, Han Jin, who's not a born leader. No, he's a model professional. And so these definitely are 3 players we want to hold on to, and we want to try to build the club around them. That's what we should be doing. We want to make sure that we have these good, strong, solid personalities in the club, and that we build things around them, and that we get young players who are coming up at the club to also have these types of personalities. This is the sort of storyline that you can make happen in Football Manager. That's the thing that's so amazing about it. And if you have a problem with the player, if he's unhappy about something, if he's upset, if he stops training well or whatever, you can yell at him, you can get mad at him, you can say, hey, stop doing this. It's a great game for this. It's a great game for this type of role-playing. That is what Football Manager is all about. Now, the reason why I say this and why I want to bring all of this up in a video is because I know that there are a lot of people out there who will use the button. You can't see it here, but they'll use the instant result button. I don't want to watch the match. I just want to get through this part of the story and get through that part of the story and go quick and quick and quick. And, we're going to forget about everything else, right? I know there are a lot of YouTubers out there, including people who are a lot more successful than me, who will play an entire season in like a day or in a week or less than a week, 3 days, 4 days. I guess it depends upon what league you're in. I know that there are people on the official forums who will play seasons in a day. I've seen that before. And my caution to everybody is that you're missing a pretty good story. There might be some really interesting storylines that are there if you just look for them. But if you go racing through everything and say, I don't have time to care about that stuff, I just want to get to the next milestone and then to the next milestone after that, you're going to miss some pretty interesting stuff. And you're going to miss some stuff that might be fun to share with other people that maybe somebody else would be interested in, right? I just look at this guy right here, Luciano Parra. This is this dude that we signed from Chile, 1.9 million renminbi, which again, it's like $200,000 or something like that. This guy has been an absolute monster for us. 20 goals, 5 assists, 4 players in the match, 8.61 average rating. The scouts are saying that right now he'd be a good player for most Super League sides. He's only 20 years old. He's just absolutely playing totally over his level. And when we take a look at all of this stuff, he's clearly the best forward in the division, I guess, except for technically Gao Yang, but Gao Yang doesn't score any goals, right? This guy is a solid player, but if you're holidaying through your seasons, if you're playing through as quickly as possible, you might miss out on a guy like this. You might not see this story. You might not get to know him. You might not learn more about this guy who I don't think anybody outside of Chile has in real life ever heard of, right? And it's stuff like that you'll miss out on if you don't play this game right. The last thing I want to say before I quit here is there is also a lot of power in not using those lists of Wonder Kids that come out with the start of every version, with the start of every update. Now, I'm going to admit, I do know about some of the Wonder Kids, right? So I'm going to look, let's see if we can find him here. This is what happens when I don't prepare ahead of time, and I think that I may have taken him off. Oh, here he is. So Suvana Moyanta, I know about this guy. This Thai international from prior games of Football Manager, right? This guy's awesome, and he usually shows up on your Wonder Kid list, a little bit further down. It's cool to know about him, and he's a great player. I wish that he would sign for us. Unfortunately, he has no interest. We're going to try again. We're about to sign a couple of Thai players to try to win this guy over, woo him over to our side, and we may end up spending 10, 12, even 15 million renminbi to try to get him, right? We have the money. We might as well do it. Stuff like that is cool, right? If other people already know about this guy and he's like sort of a growing star in international football like Moyanta is. But it's even more cool if you go around and you find people who are not really that well known or players who are extremely obscure who, when they are on your club, suddenly become like superstars or who become absolutely wonderful players that you're like, I always wanted to play with this sort of guy, Christopher Paulsen, who's Norwegian, is a guy who we signed for nothing. 1 million renminbi off of Viking 2. This guy's been absolutely incredible for us. Huge average rating, getting a whole ton of appearances in the back. He scored 3 goals for us, 2 man of the matches. This is amazing for a kid who's 18 years old, who is unhappy. He wants to start more games, and so on. You never would have heard of this guy before. I don't remember seeing this guy anywhere in any list of anything. I think we found him because he was capped at the under-19 level, but what do you know about the Norwegian under-19s, right? That's the thing. Football Manager is so cool because you can do this sort of experimentation and you can find stuff. Now, the real key to Football Manager, and I'm learning this more and more, is that storytelling. It's your ability to use the game to tell interesting stories and compelling stories that last a long time. That's the thing that I find most interesting of all. I give all the props to people who are willing to tell their stories on the old FM Stories forum, on the Sports Interactive boards, who are willing to go onto Reddit and tell me some hilarious story about some guy they signed who totally put their club upside down, or who are undergoing some crazy project and who play games, with teams of bullies with high aggression that try to foul the other team all over the place or whatever it is. This is the stuff that this is all about, man. This is the stuff that's cool. You might feel differently than me, but as far as I'm concerned, that's much more interesting than seeing somebody do tactic testing where they just holiday through a season or 5, or taking a Wonder Kid and trying to push him out 20 years and just see what happens in his career. I mean, it's okay. What I really want to see, though, is the good and the bad. I want to see the team struggle. I want to see the problems. I want to see the impact that having the sugar daddy owner has on the squad. I want to see guys like Paulson be discovered who nobody's ever heard of before, and then he turns around and becomes a great star. That's what Football Manager really is about, and that's the thing that I think we all should keep in mind. So when you play your Football Manager save, next time, stay away from holidaying. Don't fall for it. It's a trap. Stay away from it. Instead, focus on playing and tell yourself a pretty good story. You will thank yourself for it. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.